The beauty of imperfection. Welcome, everybody. It's your favorite cousin, Rich. Welcome to episode 9 of Rich Talks. This episode is about the beauty in imperfection. If you really sit back and think, nothing in this world is perfect. But first, let's say, what is perfect? What is perfection? There's only one thing of perfection. There's only one example of perfection, that is God. Other than that, there's no sense or no thing such as perfection. Perfection is a human construct that we have created. Perfection is something unachievable. So the beauty in imperfection is the beauty of actually acceptance. Accepting life, accepting what is. Accepting that something will never be the human construct of what we deem perfect, but everything is already perfect and perfected. Meaning, if you're looking for something to be perfect, you're looking for something to be impossible. You're looking for something that's not real. But if you take a step back and you view something as it is in totality, and you find the beauty in it, then there's no sense of even finding if it is perfect. If this is making sense, I hope it is. You see, being able to accept something as it is all that's needed. Trying to wait for something that is perfect is waiting for a fallacy. Nothing is perfect, but everything is perfectly imperfect. Like a leaf. What would be a perfect leaf, or a perfect person? It's the imperfections is what makes somebody perfect to me. It's what makes somebody beautiful. It's what makes things beautiful. If you can embrace it. I feel like people who look for perfection have an issue of accepting themselves. Like somebody who's working on a project or working on anything artistic or anything in general, scientific, mathematical, philosophy, anything. And you try to be perfect with your analyzations, or you try to be perfect with whatever you're doing. It's almost like you're trying to overcompensate for something that you lack. Because why does something have to be perfect? You have to really sit back and think. Why does something have to be perfect? To be accepted, I feel like if whatever you're doing or however you feel is enough, then that should be enough. There's no sense of having to be perfect or reach perfection or have perfection. Like I said, I believe it's a coping mechanism or a way to cover up. When you're trying to search for perfection. Like when you're trying to search for the perfect partner. Why are you trying to search for, not for the perfect partner, trying to search for somebody who is perfect to be your partner? And you have to sit back and say, well, why are you searching for someone who is perfect? Why not embrace somebody, flaws and all, imperfection and all, because that's what makes them them. That's what makes them whole. That's what makes them complete. That's what truly makes them them. I find, personally, imperfections are beautiful. Personally, that's just me. Not everybody, but I personally do. I find imperfections is what makes somebody them. Imperfection is like your personal stamp, or like a beauty mark, You know how people have like visible beauty marks? And some people may hate it, but to me it's almost like your personal stamp. And that's how I feel about that's how I personally feel about like imperfections, Say for instance, you're working on a project and it's not perfect. It's a little flaw in there, it's a little mistake or something in there, just something little that you can notice. But that's what makes it more real, you know? It's like if you look at like AI, artificial intelligence, and how it's almost perfect, it doesn't seem real, you know? Or if you see somebody who's perfect, you know, they don't almost seem real, so it's almost unrelatable to. In a deeper sense, it's unrelatable. This is why there's beauty in imperfections, because the beauty in those imperfections is what's relatable. You can't relate to somebody who's perfect. You know, somebody who never messes up, you know, has a clean this and that, never been in trouble, da 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 da. You know, the squeaky clean person. Nobody can relate to that person. They're perfect. Nobody can relate to that. We can all relate to somebody who's imperfect, all relate to somebody who's messed up, slipped up, you know, done something uncontrary to their higher self, whatever the case may be. We can all relate to those type of people because we've all done it. But none of us are perfect. So that's why it's beauty in imperfection, because we can relate to those imperfections. It's easier to accept those imperfections. It's harder to accept something that's perfect. Number one, because it's not a human construct, it's not real. So automatically on a deeper intuitive level, we already know we can't accept it. We already know it almost goes against who we are. You know, like on a deeper spiritual level, we already know we can't accept it. You know? The beauty in imperfections. Like I said, I think imperfections is beautiful. They're personally what makes something something. What's that J. Cole song, Cricket Smile? You see? Being able to accept your imperfections is what takes people over the top. Being able to embrace your shortcomings, downfalls, you know, the things that you feel may hold you back. Being able to accept those things is what almost takes you to another level. And this is talking about like physicality, but even mentally, you know, mentally not being perfect, meaning not knowing everything. That's cool that you don't know everything, but the beauty in that is that you accepting you not knowing everything allows you to gain even more, allows you to be even more open. But somebody who believes they're perfect, meaning they know everything, they're closed off. They're not willing to accept or willing to be open to other possibilities, realms, thoughts, and ideas and ideologies. This is why it's beautiful to be in a space of being imperfect, in a space of being willing to be open. You know, it's like perfection is done, it's complete, it's closed, it's whole in a sense. It's like a circle. You know, like a perfect circle. It's complete, it's done. There's no more room. Like a perfect person, what other way could they, you know, let's say for instance it's a perfect person, like perfect structure, bone structure, height, physicality, all that. If all that's perfect, what more can be added to that person to make them even more perfect? You see what I'm saying? So if there's nothing more to add to that person to make them even more perfect, then that means they're complete. And so therefore, if something's whole, if something's perfect, therefore it's complete. And the only thing complete is God. Therefore, we should never aim for perfection. Because when you aim for perfection, you're aiming to complete something. And not complete like finish a task, but you're aiming to know all about something. You're aiming to complete something. You're aiming to, like I said, complete in the sense of, not in the sense of, when you're aiming to complete something, not in the sense of finishing a task, but in the sense of making it perfect. In the sense of when perfect is complete, meaning a perfect person, you can't add anything else to them because it's already perfect, meaning it's done. So in the sense of you trying to make something perfect, you're trying to maximize it the best as possible to the depths that it could ever go, but it's impossible. I hope this makes sense. I hope this really makes sense. Because it makes sense in my head. It's just the ways are being articulated. The beauty in imperfections. That's like a painting. You know, the abstract paintings where people just slap something on the wall, the artist draws how they feel their emotions and they convey it through that paintbrush into the wall or that canvas. It's almost the same thing. It's an it's an imperfect picture because you don't know what's going on. It looks incomplete, but it's complete. It's perfect. It's beautiful. I feel we should not aim for perfection, but aim for something to be the best as possible with where we are currently in our state, and let that convey as much as possible. And sit back and analyze and view and appreciate that for what it is at that point. Because that's what true life is. That's what true life is. Like I said, once you're connected to who you really are and you're fully accepted, then perfection is something that you don't even chase, you don't even look for. Number one, because you know it's not real, but it's not something that you even care for because you're whole and complete yourself. See, when you're whole and complete yourself in the imperfection, then there's no need and sense of chasing that quote unquote perfection. Because like I said, the people or the things that chase perfection, you're chasing some kind of validation, or you're chasing some kind of filler in the hole that you have because you can't accept yourself because you feel like everything else has to be perfect. You know, you notice a lot of this in people, like kids who've been invalidated, you know, kids who grew up invalidated, or who had to strive for perfection in order to be accepted by their parents. You see this a lot. And that they try very, very hard to be perfect. And they have this sense of being unaccomplished, or this sense of not being able to fully accept themselves, or always looking for somebody for their validation due to having to be perfect or striving for perfection as a child. And these can cause a lot of traumas, you know, when people grow up. Because number one, you're striving for perfection, and number two, you're striving for perfection for someone else's validation. And this is not going to turn out well. This never turns out well. Because you're chasing someone's validation, and which you can never, or you should never be wanting to be validated by someone, because your happiness, your peace, your sanity will be based off of this person's validation of you. Meaning if they accept what you've done one day, then cool. The next day, if they don't, now you're seeking their validation even more. Now your mental state is one day you're happy, now you're sad because this person hasn't validated you. So that's one. And then number two, now you're chasing perfection. And as we've already stated, there's no such thing as perfection. So how could this ever end up well? How could this ever end up in a positive state? It can't. It's impossible. That's why I believe we should give up on things like perfection and just be. Just accept and be. You know, people looking for the perfect relationship instead of a relationship that works for them. You search for a perfect relationship, you know, to show off on social media, or to show off in your friends or family or whatever the case may be, or to validate that you are a good person or whatever the case may be. You know, the perfect person with the perfect job, the perfect height, the perfect da-da-da-da-da. And you're searching for all these things, but really, you should search for the person or the relationship that's just right for you. Which it may not be the most perfect relationship, you know. It may not be perfect to society standards, but it's right and it works for you. So what's more important, that imperfect relationship that's right for you, or that quote-unquote perfect relationship that's right for society but doesn't work for you? See, that's why I feel like things like this whole construct of perfection, it doesn't work out. it has you chasing something that's not real. It's like that horse and the carrot. You're chasing that carrot, knowing that you'll never catch it. And all the while, you could have stopped on the side of the road, and got something that was right for you. I said, personally, me, it's like you have a car with a perfect car straight off the lot, right? It's harder for you to really enjoy that car, really embrace that car, really drive that car, really have fun with that car, anything like that when there's no dents, no scratches, no nothing. But haven't you noticed when you get that one little scratch or that one little ding on the door or something like that, or a little scrape on the bottom or something like that, that anxiety goes away. And now when that anxiety goes away, you're able to enjoy the car even more. You know? Now you're able to drive it. You're not really scared to park it here or park it there. You really get to embrace the car and have fun with the car as the car was meant and intended to. So it's the same thing with like yourself or trying to find a perfect person or a perfect situation or something like that. When you come across something that you think is perfect or you hold in that high regard, you don't really get to enjoy it or really get to embrace it fully as it was meant to. It's like you have a perfect job, so you're scared to really be you at that job because you feel like you may lose the job if you know you're just you. So you put it on a pedestal in a sense, And now when you put it on a pedestal, you don't really get to enjoy the job or you lose the sense of who you are in this job because you believe that it's perfect. It's like I said, when you have a perfect person, you're scared to really enjoy them because like you think they're perfect. So now it's they can do no harm or they can do no bad or you can't really embrace them or insecurities pop up, blah, 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 blah. Versus somebody who may have, little flaws, whatever the case may be, or something like that. Somebody who's not perfect. So you don't hold them up to a pedestal. And I'm not saying this is me, but this is some people in general. So now they're with this person who may not be perfect, but they really get to enjoy them. Now, there's no such thing as perfection. Perfection is real. It's not real. It's a fallacy. It's false. It's something that we made up as something we just made up. People have a hard time of accepting something that's perfect. That's where the thought of it's too good to be true can come from. Because a lot of times when something's deemed as perfect, it's almost too good to be true. It's not real. That's why it's important, I believe, even when you're talking to somebody or introducing yourself to somebody or, to be who you are. Don't try to be perfect because now when you try to paint this picture of being perfect, number one, it sends out this false identity of who you are. And number two, it's hard for the other person to accept you for who you truly are because now you put up this facade of who you may be. And how can that other person that you're trying to communicate with or build with or bond with can even accept you because you put up this false identity of who you are. Now, this person may be on high guard or may not even be able to fully embrace you due to you coming off as trying to be perfect or coming off as being perfect. It's harder to accept. Like guys who come across girls who may be deemed perfect, how could he help her in her life if she's already perfect? Everything's already said. It's no possible way. You're complete. You're whole. Perfection. And same thing with ladies. If this guy is perfect in the sense of, everything, how could you come in his life and help or benefit? You can't. He's whole. He's complete. He's perfect. He's done. That's why I deem perfect with done. Perfect with finished. Perfect with, the end. So now you have a choice of imperfection, which would be incomplete, meaning can still add, can still grow, still be embraced, versus being complete, being done. It's a strange concept that how humans have even come up with the thought of saying, or the thought of perfection. And what was the true reason of deeming something perfection? Because, like I said, the only thing perfect is God. That's it. So I wonder, where did this thought process of chasing perfection come from? Or needing to be perfect to be accepted? Where did it really come from? And who benefited off of that? Because I tell you, we don't benefit from it. The people don't benefit from it, from trying to be perfect. You lose. You can't, it's almost like it's not almost like, excuse me, I was gonna go off on an example, but it's true. You can't accept something that's perfect. You have your guards up. Now you can accept something that, now it's a difference, like I said, something too good to be true being perfect. It's a difference between that and something that's perfectly right for you and it's almost too good to be true in a sense. Now that's two different things. Meaning it may be an imperfect person who's just right for you. Now it seems too good to be true. That's a total different thing than something that's perfect, meaning it's too good to be true. Just to get that, understood. Not seeking perfection allows you to move on. It allows you to grow. Imagine how long you've been stuck on something trying to make something perfect, where you could just get it just right or just good enough, for you to accept it and go on and move on to the next thing. Imagine how long people have been held back or you've been held back trying to reach for perfection. You could be working on a project for school or something like that. And you're trying to get it just right, just perfect. You know? I'm not saying don't do your best to do as good as possible you could possibly do, No. But somebody's searching for perfection. And now you search for perfection on this project. You're expending more time that you could be using to put into other things, grow in other areas. Perfection has been a lot of people's downfall. Look at people who go for like beauty modification surgery, nose, lips, butts, boobs. All to have that perfect body. That quote unquote perfect body. And even when they do that, they don't fully accept themselves. Hence what I said at the beginning, that people who search for perfection don't really accept themselves or is looking for some sort of validation. Because haven't you noticed somebody who gets more plastic surgery over and over and over and over and over because it's never good enough? They're searching for perfection. They're searching, for that perfect body, that perfect look. Therefore, they're going to the knife over and over and over and over and over, constantly risking their life over and over and over and over and over for that perfection to be accepted or validated. And they could have easily just accepted who they were, validated who they were themselves, and all that would be unnecessary. And fully embrace and accept who they are. I don't know if it was the actual thing of perfection or the propagandizing perfection and you needing to be perfect in order to be accepted. Like there's no such thing. Even like when you see models, in the lookbooks and things of that sort, they edit those pictures. The people who we deem beautifully perfect, they edit those pictures. They edit them. That's not how that person truly looks. They edit them. Even a model, somebody who we deem is almost perfect, close to perfect, they even edit those pictures. So what does that even tell you? Somebody who's professionally made to be perfect or professionally paid to be perfect is not even perfect. And we're still searching for this perfection? No. Find the beauty in perfection and live your life. Again, find the beauty in imperfection and live your life. It'll be the best thing that ever happened to you. Because how many times have we rejected something that's not perfect due to society or due to, certain standards that we had based off of perfection? Think about all the blessings that we've denied, all the people that we've denied, all the thoughts and mindsets, ideologies, places, all these things that we've denied due to the thought process of needing something to be perfect. You could have had the person that was right for you, perfect for you, but because they didn't fit into the standards of what perfection is or the perfect person, you rejected this person. Keep in mind, this person was perfect for you. Ain't that something? So, once you find the beauty in perfection, once you find the beauty in imperfection, I believe that's when life begins. Like I said, life truly begins when you start to embrace imperfection and you reject perfection. I believe this should be the new campaign, is reject perfection. Because when you reject perfection, you reject the construct that humans and man has put on us in order to embrace something that's not possible. So then we lose sight on what the true meaning of life is. It's to truly live, it's to truly love, it's to truly embrace the world as it is. Because this is an imperfect world. Yeah. Good talk. Like I said, the beauty in imperfection. Nothing is perfect. Nothing. You're perfectly made, wonderfully made, because you're made in the image of God. And to me, that should be enough. To me, that was enough right there. Why try to be perfect in the eyes of man when you're already made perfect? So right there, the way that you were made already overruled the construct that you're trying to achieve that was already placed upon you. It's like you're trying to step down and gain the approval. Whoa. Okay. It's like you're trying to stoop down and embrace the acceptance of something that you're already above. That's what I mean when I say that you are already made perfect in the image of God. Yet, you're trying to embrace or trying to find perfection in the eyes of man. To me, that's a step down. Once you already know that you're made perfect in the image of God, that should be enough to embrace and move forward. Practice acceptance. If you're a person who is always striving for perfection or looking for perfection in things and people and places and all this, try just acceptance. Try accepting yourself if you don't accept yourself. Tell yourself that you're good enough. Wherever you're at, you're good enough. And if you feel like you're not good enough, just try harder. But don't try harder enough to be perfect. No, just try harder to be better than where you were. And put one foot in front of the other, and that's it. Just try to be better than what you were, and that's it. Get those constructs of perfection out of your head. It don't do you no good. Hope this helps somebody today. Again, this your favorite cousin. Episode 9 of Rich Talks, the beauty and imperfection. Hope this helps somebody today. Y'all be safe. Love and blessings.